All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a guest episode focused on talking a lot of farming. Might dabble in some politics as well. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. Share the show. Share it out with who you know. The more you do that, the more people we reach, the better guests we can get on, the better episodes we can make, the more episodes we can make. You can also... If you want to support the show, you can also leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We're almost to 1,000 5-star reviews on Apple, and we're over 2,000 on Spotify. So thank you to all that do that. Gives our show tremendous credibility. It helps us get better guests on. So all of your guys' support helps out tremendously. We're also going to do a new raffle that's starting in February, and how you can enter into a raffle to win a free box of meat from our direct-to-consumer meat business, Farmer Grade, is you can go over to farmergrade.com right now and sign up for our newsletter, sign up for our email list, and that's where you can get notified on new products, new farmers that we get on board, beef, chicken, pork, new discounts, sales that we got going on. Keeps you all informed on that, and that's how you can get entered in, whether you're watching or listening on Apple, or Spotify. So that's how you can enter into a raffle this month.
Got shrimp farmers lined up yet?
No shrimp farmers. I did have somebody, this is actually pretty cool, that reached out that claims to be a wild Alaskan salmon guy.
No kidding.
That's out getting wild caught Alaskan salmon. And he's looking to find an avenue to sell it through. Very, very gets my wheels turning, but you got to think freight, transportation, all that shit. It'd be awesome to do that, but man.
Are you going to drive the Farmer Grade truck up there?
Yeah, right.
Driving back?
That's the problem. Yeah, we get a lot of interest from people, and I'd love to say yes to everybody on Farmer Grade that wants to work with us, but one, I don't feel like I have enough capital to be able to just get everybody from every other state, but the other thing is, like, people are reaching out about lamb. What's another one? Chicken. Goats. Chicken, I want chicken. I just got to find a chicken producer. I got to find a chicken producer close by because the logistics and freight will just kill you. But like sheep, lamb, what did I say?
Wild
goats,
salmon.
Goats, salmon, shrimp, all that stuff. It sounds awesome, and maybe in the future I'd love to do it, but I got to stay focused on getting those 3 proteins down first, and then we can venture out and do cool shit like bison and stuff like that. But keep it simple, stupid. It's kind of my motto right now.
Yep, that's right. We got to keep it simple. Not saying we're stupid, but we're not the sharpest tools in the shed, so we gotta stay in our lane and get some stuff figured out. Today we're going to stay in our lane of just ag. And it's a beautiful day outside in southeast Iowa, which would remind you of spring. However, this episode should have taken place in the fall. We've got a friend of the show and the guy that helps us farm, does a bunch of custom work for us. He's our handy Andy. He's the guy that keeps the wheels turning because he can fix just about everything and got a lot of cool technology. And we wanted to do a post-harvest episode this fall. However, we got busy and he got busy and we had a lot of stuff going on, and it just so happened that today it worked. So we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the past year, what's coming in 24, what we're looking forward to. We might delve off a little into politics. We seem to be of similar minds in that area, so we might get into that a little bit. But just a good all-around episode to talk about our hopes, dreams, and ambitions. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
David Zieser, welcome to Barn Talk. We've been trying to get this one on for a while now.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be our post-harvest summary episode.
Yeah.
It still is.
Actually,
it still is.
We were supposed to have that, and at that episode, we were supposed to plan our National Farm Machinery Show trip for next week, and go on the bourbon hunt,
the bourbon trip,
and we failed pretty miserably at all those things.
Yeah,
but we're here.
But we made it.
We made it here. So yeah, this is going to be kind of we're going to talk harvest. We're going to talk planning. We're going to talk David's manure journey of doing custom manure for all the people around here, and just the ups and downs of all of it. Yeah, and whatever lights us up. It's kind of going to go with the flow, but glad to have you here. You've been here once already. We're going to kind of make this an annual thing. So if you don't know this, David, we all kind of farm together. He's our custom guy, custom combines for us, custom plants for us, custom manure for us. He kind of is a jack of all trades, and we just kind of all farm together. So every year we're going to, after harvest, after he gets done doing manure, we're going to come on here and we're just going to talk about the year. So,
well, yeah, first and foremost, God bless you guys. Thank you for everything last year. That was
You're welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
You made it through. I knew you would. So that was a tough, last year probably will go down in the books as probably your tough. I hope it's your toughest year.
I hope so. It actually wasn't really that bad.
No.
So I hope that's the worst it gets.
Yep.
Yeah, funny thing is I'm probably about half sold with grain for 23 crop. And I'm actually glad that I am. I sold it all in the fall, which was a lot better prices than we're seeing today.
Yeah, we should do that. Since this is a kind of an ag-based deal, we should do a hot and fast
Start with the
market
swift kick
update.
to the nuts, right?
Yeah, because
right.
this is full of it today, and these are actually good numbers as of the day we're recording it. So, corn down 438 on the board, 434 local. Actually, the river has the best price right now, 442. Not even Cedar Rapids wants to pay up for grain today, so river was a penny higher. Beans 1194, 1185 on our side. 1217 if you want to drive to Quincy. Bean meal $358 a ton. Bean meal is about the lowest it's been in quite a while. The hog farmers probably like that a little bit. Wheat $5.95 for the nearby month. Everything going forward is $6 or higher. Hogs don't sound that great. So the contract, the nearby futures contract is $73.50. However, my eyes are practically burning from the light pouring in at the end of the tunnel. We're almost to the end of the tunnel. You can actually make money in the hog business.
You're kidding.
You get out what, April, May, June, all in the 90s. In fact, getting close to the upper 90s. And feeder pigs are right about $60. And if you go out on the futures, if you can buy a $60 feeder pig, you can lock in a $25 a head profit. That's the first time you've been able to do that in about a year.
So my rent checks, I don't have to worry about them clearing.
Nope, I think. So we and David custom feed for the same integrator, and
when we go tits up, we'll go tits up together.
Yeah, we live together, we die together. But it looks like, if the checks have made it this long, they're probably going to keep coming. So there is a little hope in the hog business. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Exports. The Chinese have been losing just as much money as we have been, if not more, and they're shedding sows like crazy. But I read the other day that I think they have so many problems over there that they're really not interested in throwing money at the hog business to keep all those guys afloat. They have kind of changed their idea that they think they can probably buy pork cheaper than they can go through the trouble of keeping all these guys afloat. So they're probably going to import more pork like they did, 4 or 5 years ago versus when they got on that kick of trying to grow it all themselves. So if the world doesn't fall apart and we don't piss everybody off or each other, maybe they're going to buy enough that it'll help us out. We'll just have to see.
Bricks might have another thing to say about that.
That's true. That's 100% true. Cattle, $183. Cattle market's just fucking on fire. It's just crazy. Feeder cattle, $246.
Because there's no cattle out there.
There are no cattle. That's right. And there's not going to be for, 2 years probably.
Well, yeah,
best you can do.
You got to buy the cow. You got to breed the cow and then wait 9 months for her to poop the baby out. And then another, what, 6 to 9 months for it to get fat? A year?
So if you're,
I don't know anything about cattle.
if you have the cows, you got to be feeling pretty good. I think you would. We should get a cow guy on here.
Well, there's just not too many around. That's
There's
the
not a
hard
lot.
part.
We'll get Mike Burdo.
When's the last time the cattle guys have made any money?
No, that's right. They're going to fight that they deserve it.
Right.
And I guess I won't argue against them. Oil, $73. Bitcoin, $43,600. Tesla's $189. Gold's $2,000. Silver, nobody cares about silver.
I talked with our favorite chemical supplier the other day, and back in our single days when we were living together, probably should have taken some of that beer money and put it on Bitcoin.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say he's going to start accepting Bitcoin for payment.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, don't kid yourself.
We'd be sitting in a lot better spot right now if I'd have put $3,000 down in 2008.
Brad will take any, depending on what time of year it is, Brad will take any form of payment just to get some money. So I don't think that's a problem. I will ask him whether he'll take Bitcoin or not.
Or silver.
Yeah. I don't think you should feel bad, though. I think there's plenty of guys your age that were in school or young at the time of the beginning of Bitcoin that actually paid for pizza with Bitcoin.
Yeah, you could
dude.
be that guy.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah, well, paid $10 for a pizza, and it would have been worth a million or something.
Yeah.
Crazy
something
amount.
stupid.
Crazy amount.
It was like 10 Bitcoin or something like that.
What's so I saw an article the other day about the population bomb that's about to hit China,
Yes.
coming from the old
100%.
one child policy.
It has bit him in the ass terrible. So, depending on who you listen to, so there's a guy, Peter Zion. If you're a listener of this show, you know that I've quoted him many times. And he's demographics. He focuses on like geography, natural resources, population, birth rate trends, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and then
you talking about this before. I think we talked about this the last time.
we probably did.
Maybe.
Like there is not enough young people coming up to their whole economy is based on consumption.
Right.
You just stimulate people to buy stuff, buy houses, buy cars.
Yeah.
Well, their population is just leveled out. So there's no, at best, you can maintain. There's no upside left. And in fact, they're only a few years away from starting to decline. But the problem is you take like the United States, our population has been stagnant for quite a while. We're just above the replacement rate.
Yeah.
Most of that's probably from illegal immigration.
Right.
However, we're better off than most of the world, Japan and Europe. However, it's been a very gradual thing, and so we've been able to like muddle through it. Their decline is going to be a decline followed by a rapid, just absolute collapse because all the people from when that one child thing started, there's a big hole there, basically. And when it hits, they're in trouble.
I don't know
So
if
back
there's-
to what you said about it's good that they're not producing pork right now, but
Right?
how long until we lose that?
Well, the hog business has two really big problems, and that's one of them is the fact that we built this idea that we were just going to be able to produce more and more and more, and we were going to export the extra, and the whole world wanted to eat meat and wanted to eat more of it, and the developing nations, those populations are just going to grow and grow and grow. And while that's true in a lot of smaller countries in Asia, and Mexico is honestly our biggest exporter for us personally, but it's more of a mature market in the fact that it doesn't have as much upside because we already sell so much pork down there.
Right.
But China, I don't think is sustainable. But then the other problem that we have is your generation, younger people, they don't eat as much meat anyway.
Right.
And they definitely don't eat, they want quick stuff.
I feel like that trend of carnivore, keto, people are like starting to realize, oh, so the Fruity Pebbles cereal, they keep telling us that's what's good for our cholesterol and don't eat enough, don't have too much bad cholesterol, and they want us not to eat eggs, dairy, or meat. You know, it's like people.
Eggs are bad. Eggs are good.
Yeah,
Eggs
people
bad.
are
Eggs
waking
good.
up and saying, so you're telling me the real shit that's real food that isn't full of food dyes and all that shit's bad for me. But all the other stuff that's processed and made in your factory, that's the good stuff for me. Yeah, fuck you.
Bugs are good for you.
Yeah, bugs. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. For me, I eat meat probably almost every meal. And I'm kind of more moving towards I just trying to eat real food as much as I can and eat less of that seed oil shit, red dye shit, all that stuff, because that's what they want you to eat.
I talked to a local farmer, well, just last night even. He's got family out in Colorado, and they go out to visit him like once or twice a year, and they don't consume pork at all. He's like, they'll take pork out to him, like he'll take them loins, and he's like, they don't know how to cook it either, so they just cook the dog piss out of it, and then it's dry and just a brick. So I mean, there's room for expansion in the U.S., I'm sure.
We're going to change that.
Yeah.
When those commercials of me frying bacon in the morning with my shirt off, when those hit on the Farm Grade website, it's going to bring them in. It's going to be like, it's probably like flies to honey.
That'll be our lowest month in sales right there.
Sexy right
well,
there.
and the people that are attracted to that probably need some sort of counseling anyway.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd throw it
Pork's
out there.
pork, huh?
I think that's a Chinese proverb, never cook pork bacon.
I think that video could end up on
Topless.
Never cook bacon naked.
Yep.
That could end up on Pornhub. Torque, bacon pork.
I have no idea. Well,
Shirt
I
off
don't know.
in
that
shirt
tag,
off in the kitchen making some bacon.
That tag could really stray into some
For National Pork Month, we could do that. We could get it on there.
Let's just go to another.
That would go
Torque the other white meat.
Yeah.
the other white meat. Heck yeah, okay. I like it.
All of a sudden
Yeah, I
I
think
feel
there's hope.
victimized.
I think there's hope. I do. And I do think that we've said it a million times. If we could try to get more restaurants and more people promoting the consumption of pork, because it is good if you know how to cook it and it's done really, really well. If it's done well, it's fucking great. The flavor's amazing.
So irradiation, remember that from back in the early 2000s or 90s? That was supposed to be, I thought, the way to fix the, was it trypticanosis problem? What's that called?
Trichinosis.
Yeah. Wasn't that the way to solve that? And then you could cook pork a little more rare?
And you could keep it, it extended the shelf life because it killed all the bacteria of any kind in it, all that.
Was it the R word? Radiation?
Yeah, I think so. And so they were doing, I think a lot of meats they were wanting to, basically I think all processed meat, they were trying to do that. And I don't think that ever took off.
Right.
I think that was all dead on arrival. I think the biggest myth out there with pork is people are still, that message still floats around from your grandmother that you have to cook pork to 160 degrees because of trichinosis.
Right.
And we don't have trichinosis anymore. It's not an issue. And, they say 145, and I can tell you, the way I do pork chops or anything is
You're not a food safety expert.
This is not
food safety advice.
Food safety advice. Basically,
the opinions expressed on this program are
if you
not
get anything
necessarily
out of this, do your own research because you can't trust us. But yeah, so when I cook them, I cook them and I pull them at 140 and then let them.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a friend who used to work in the restaurant industry, and he said the one clientele that would always come in and want their steak overcooked was the old farmers.
Yes.
Well, that ain't me, and I don't think that's the new generation of farmers. But there's probably a deal from back in the day where they cut the steak and left it sit in the fridge for a month, and then they had to cook it.
Everything my mother cooked was well done.
Yeah.
And if we had lamb chops, because we used to raise a few sheep, truly were hockey pucks. If you chucked them at somebody, knock them out cold. Those things were like tough, very tough. So everything got the shit cooked out of it.
Speaking of tough, let's get into last year. So for those that don't know what took place last year, if they didn't tune into This'll Do Farm, our YouTube channel, kind of fill them in on the year that you had, the ups, the downs, how it started, how it ended, and just kind of, give them your perspective a little bit.
My year, how it started. So I had some issues with emergence last spring. I think when we planted, it was not quite exactly fit, but we hit that first window. That's right. That's what it was.
Yep.
Woodhoff calls me and he says, well, there he is, the only guy in Washington County who's done with corn.
Yep.
It turned out all right, but there was some issues with emergence. It was not
Well,
good.
it wasn't perfect, and
Yeah, I was a little worried. To be
You guys
honest.
are half done.
yeah, we were half.
I was all done.
Yeah. And I was kind of worried about what we had, but then it wasn't a whole lot when we finished, then we didn't get rain.
Yeah.
So then it got dry. It got warm and it got dry.
Which I say was a good thing.
It was a good thing, but we were like, okay, are we going to get enough rain to get this corn up? But you got all sorts of excited. You were like, got to get this done.
Right.
And I almost fell for your ploy because I get this message from David and it's like, what do you think? I've been out checking my stuff and I figured, your soil up there on the north side of the road, it always warms up faster.
You never want to be the only guy that does the wrong
maybe we
thing.
could go up there. And I was like, I think I just didn't reply for a few hours. And then I was like, oh, it's not any too fit up here. And by the
Watching the road. He's not here yet, is he?
And then by that time, you're like, well, I'm going. And I'm like, okay, knock yourself out. And then I don't hear anything from you for a little while. And then it's like, I'm done. When do you want to start?
Right. Well, it's that you got to have it in the ground. Is it 12 hours?
Yep.
I'll remember it all when it comes to planting time again. But you got to have it in the ground 12 hours before a cold rain, which everything you and I did was in.
Yep.
My issue was just seed to soil contact wasn't the greatest. And then, we had 3 weeks of cold rain.
Mm-hmm.
Cold and rain. Not a lot of rain, but a lot of cold. But yeah, I think the dry spell probably did us more good than anything because I don't know. I've talked about it on the YouTube channel before, but if it's dry early, them roots will go down.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hit tassel, they stop growing.
Yep.
And
We definitely have proven in the last 5 years in southeast Iowa that
Take a dry year over a wet year.
100%. I don't want a wet year.
Yeah, 2019 sucked.
Yeah.
Bad.
Are we going to get bit in the ass this year, you think? We had all this snow in the winter, and it's going to do the same thing in the spring. It's just going to pour like a mofo.
Farmer's Almanac, 90 days out from fog, right?
We got, though,
Puts us
what
right
is
in
it?
that window.
Am I not supposed to speak that into existence?
Yeah,
60 days, maybe it's
don't
60
talk
days.
That.
Don't talk that dirty.
Well, but snow, so an inch of snow is a tenth of an inch of water. Is that right?
It ain't much.
It doesn't amount to that much.
Yeah, a foot of snow is like an inch of water, I believe.
Which we'll take it because there's been years we don't get. There's plenty of years we don't get what we just had in that one snow, and we lucked out. Moving it sucked because it wasn't froze underneath, but when it thawed, it was perfect because it just
all going in.
settled right in. So that's good.
I've got tile running.
I was going to ask you if you did.
I checked it today, and I was like, I ain't seen that in a while.
Well, then we're good to go. We don't need any more rain the rest of the year.
That's true, actually. To be honest,
we started last year.
Any rain we would get in April, March,
It's just bonus.
May even don't mean crap to us at this point. It's going to stay cold enough. It ain't going to go anywhere.
Yep.
If it could stay dry until August and then we get 5 inches of rain,
You just order that up.
then corn will really go down.
Yeah, you're right there. You're 100% right there. I think you told me you were talking to John Boy, and he said it needs to stay cheap a while longer.
Yeah. I just talked to him again yesterday. Yeah. He's hoping 4 million, and he thinks it's feasible that 4 million acres of corn
Get switched out.
get dropped out.
Yep.
Either go to beans, which I don't
Wheat.
know if that's good or not, or just
Why is that? Why are they going to drop out?
Because if you're at the fringe, so if you're at the fringe part of the corn growing area, or if you're a guy that plants corn, you've made the decision you don't want to mess with beans. You're just planting corn on corn all the time.
Yeah.
Well, if the equation gets cheap enough on corn, some of those guys will start switching some acres to beans or to something else.
Yeah, if you got a cornfield that's been corn for 3 or 4 years and you switch it to beans, you should expect a pretty good yield.
Yeah.
On beans.
So there's just a lot of guys that are doing that because the corn
if
price
corn
is getting so cheap.
Yeah.
If futures stay cheap enough right here when people are making those decisions, we may lose some acres, which is what we need to do. That's why the market's doing what it's doing, because it wants to shed acres. It's because I think I talked about this on a podcast a couple weeks ago about the number of shorts and how the number of funds that are shorting the market is the highest it's been since 2018, I think. And if a third of the corn is priced, which now there may be a little more than that, I don't know, because some guys probably kind of panicked when this thing started heading the wrong way.
For next fall, you're saying?
Yeah. But if you're thinking about the amount of corn that's priced versus the amount of corn out there that's not priced, I mean, it's a huge amount. And so the market is trying to say, better do something else.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping we swing around a little bit before I price next year's.
Yeah, you and me both, because there's not a lot of pot. Well, and look at your cost. Look at your cost per acre. I mean,
yeah. What did Woodhoff told me here? Talk about that was
$800-900.
Profit was like $40.
$40 an acre. Well, because I sit down and do
Did that
my
include
cost
rent by chance?
and it's crazy. I mean, it does not take much. It does not take much for land cost. It does not take much for land cost, for equipment cost, to put your cost of production to raise corn over $700. And a lot of guys, if you've got high rent and big machinery, it's over $800. And I don't know whether I'm sure there's guys that are over $900. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to be the guy that's like $300 without land cost or something like that, but I'm not, so I can't say that.
Hopefully by the time I retire, my kids' rent is down a little bit from where I'm paying. Then I could support a couple families. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's the scary part about it is, so you take that and you look at corn. Okay, if corn is, what was the number today? 438?
438.
Yeah.
That doesn't pay very well for an $800 cost per acre.
Well, it's the cost of everything's gone up, and our prices they haven't matched it.
That doesn't even include your labor.
And we get $7 sometime, $7 corn sometime, but it's like the cost of all the shit that we got to do and all the shit we buy now, it's gone up with everything else that's gone up in the economy. Yet we're still getting paid the same commodity price that's pretty average all the rest of the years.
And the way we roll, we can't bite that bullet and pay taxes.
Yeah. Right.
So we don't save anything.
I think people outside of ag don't really, they just don't realize it. It's like, everybody's struggling, but it's like, dude, you want family farms to stay in business? Well, it's going to get fucking hard. Really fucking hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but.
Well, yeah, we can all crap on the corporate farmers, but the first person that's taking the hit on whatever you want to call this economy is the little guys.
Bidenomics.
Sure. That too.
Yeah.
I didn't know how far you wanted to go.
Oh, well, we go as far as we want on here, so you can let her eat. Okay, so emergence was a worry.
Yeah, so I was worried about emergence there. I wasn't so much worried about the dry May, June. Towards the end of June, I was contemplating not post-spraying my beans because they were 6 inches tall. Mm-hmm. And that's the deal. Well, do I spend the money and spray it, or are they just going to die anyway? Mm-hmm. Sprayed them, and then 4 days later, we got like 2.5 inches of rain.
Yep. Yeah, it was literally to the point that if you got up really, really early, as the sun was just peeking over the horizon,
you could see the dew and count that as
you could
moisture.
Look at your crop and go, what? It really doesn't look too bad. It looks okay.
Right.
And then by 9:30, it looked like it was going to burn up that day.
Yeah, it looked like we're growing pineapples.
Yep. It's like, is today the day my corn turns gray?
Yeah.
Just like Instagram girls nowadays.
Whoa.
what they look like on Instagram. Right angle, right photo, filter.
It's that filter.
Get in
yeah.
person.
Is that a thing?
Burning up.
I didn't know.
They're burning up.
I've never met an Instagram girl.
No.
Well,
think.
I plead the fifth.
I look as good. I think I look as good on Instagram as I do in person.
Yeah. It's hard to filter you.
Well, I look good.
There's no
I
At
filter.
least make those around you look good.
Yeah.
I look my best in low light as far as that goes. But I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got, what was it, like June 30th, I think we got 2.5 inches of rain. And then that got us into tassel, which, oh man, that was good.
But still,
That made a big difference there.
weren't you just?
Shitting bricks, yeah, still.
I was utterly amazed.
Oh, at the end result, yeah.
I mean, I just felt like when we got that rain, I was like, okay, we're going to have a crop. How much? How much am I going to be able to collect on my crop insurance?
Yeah,
Is it going to be 140 bushel the acre? Is it going to be 160 bushel the acre? Because not anywhere in my mind did I think, okay, this is going to be one of the best crops that I've raised.
I was sure we were going to beat the insurance average, so we wouldn't get an insurance payout.
Yeah, you were that's right. You were the
no damn way
little
they're
gray
gonna pay
cloud
out.
that was like, I'm sure we're going to be 1 bushel above.
Of insurance.
I was like, oh, thanks for stealing my joy there, bud.
But yeah, then it shut off again all through July.
Yep.
And then I think it was August, like 8th maybe, we got another 1 inch or 1.8 inches.
Yep.
And then
that filled it.
then I called the Pioneer guy and I said, hey, let's do some bushel counts, estimations here. Come on out. And at that point, we were looking low 200. So I was like, okay, well, if we don't get rain, I asked him, like, if we don't get rain from here on out, we're looking at what we just estimated. He's like, yeah, it should be that.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get rain from there on out. So,
Nope.
yeah, when I went on the old first pass of headlands this year, it was one of them.
Yeah.
Looking between the fingers.
Like, God, how bad is it going to be on the monitor? And then I
Yeah, I was
damn
just
near bawled my eyes out.
I was just amazed.
As good as it was, yeah.
Absolutely amazed.
Well, that's why we got sub $4 corn now. So
It is, absolutely. No good deed is left unpunished.
exactly,
So we
yeah, no doubt. My beans were, I'd guess beans at 60 all year.
Yep.
That's where they landed their plane, right at 60.
Yep. Well, the beans they just couldn't overcome that they didn't grow for a month.
Right.
Or a month and a half.
Yeah.
You can set a lot of pods, but it's hard to get 80 bushels worth of pods in a plant that's
It takes lubrication to make the beans go from
Yeah.
BBs to something respectable.
Yeah, that was kind of a disappointment, but that was to be expected, I think. I was trying to think when...
Don't hurt yourself.
I know. So you had a plan. You had it figured out, kind of how things were going to go. And then you kind of got smacked. You kind of got...
Right. I knew what I was going into the season with equipment-wise.
Yeah.
And it reared its ugly head a little harder than it ever had before.
Yes.
I knew it was pretty slow when it came to beans, especially with the 25-foot head.
Yep.
And then it got worse. And I never really understood why it got worse.
Oh.
The mechanic came out and we did
I blame
filters and-
him.
I do too. I think he derated
Because
my combine.
we never... So those of you that don't know, so David has run a John Deere
9570.
9570.
I think it's still for sale.
Is it really? Well, that's good. I'll pass on that, but because my deal on that still stands. I'll buy it as long as you provide the maintenance program for it.
Oh,
That was the deal. Because I don't know how to fix shit.
I could probably transfer my loan over to you on my new
Yeah, that's not really what I'm looking for either, as far as that goes. But so
free up some room in my shed.
what has been the Achilles heel of the 9570? I mean, what's the dig on it?
Yeah. What I have come to understand is the early 2000s Deere, and I used to work for BG Brecky, mechanical plumbing contractor in Cedar Rapids, and the John Deere store at the time was John Deere store. The plant in Waterloo, the tractor and engine plant, was building buku big time, trying to expand their engine operation to meet the new emissions standards.
Yep.
So what Deere had done, instead of putting a larger motor in that 9570 platform, they took current motor and spun it faster.
Which it was not designed for that.
Diesel engines, whatever they're built and designed for is what they need to run at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, over its lifespan of roughly over 3,000 hours,
yeah,
it had gone an extra
however long,
20% more.
Right.
Because they wanted to spin it at 2,500 RPM.
So you had notoriously had fuel.
We'd always had fuel issues with it.
Yeah.
And then our famous mechanic buddy came out and said, "Ooh,
how many hours this got?
Yeah, how many hours this got?" And then he told me horror stories about other guys at that hour, that same hour with.
He basically made the comment
coming out of it.
Basically made the comment that when it hits the hours that it was at, it was pretty much a grenade, and you were just it was gonna pull the pin on itself. Right. Is what he said.
It got to the point where either I upgrade to the new graphics package. Or I get nothing out of it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I went the new graphics.
So the decision was made.
So what'd you get?
Well, I got an S660 2017, 2-owner trade-in from another local owner close to us here, and it looks like a pretty good machine.
Yep.
The last deal, or the last part of the deal that needs to be done, is it's going to go in and get a run through.
Yeah.
At the shop before next fall.
Yeah.
I hope they have time. Those guys seem like they're never looking for something to do, at least according to the scheduler in there. But so it's going to go in and it's going to get the spa treatment and
nice.
Come back. I'm hoping. So they've got a bigger hopper for it.
Yeah, that was the one thing that we noticed.
That was its kind of one issue. Is I was always full again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm typically the grain cart driver, and David's running the combine, and I was like, holy shit, because we went from the old machine to this one, and I was like, oh, well, this shit, we got time. We'll have time. Hell no. That thing, we were going.
Road gear for
the nice part is, though, it had the lights.
Yeah, the lights.
Had the lights on it. It'd flash. But you got to get
to it.
Well, you got to get it flashes in different ways. So it's like half full, 3/4. I'm fucking full. Get over here. So
I need to figure out. There was an adjustment on that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure that out because it was flashing when it was like just past the window.
Yeah.
It started flashing. I'm like, well, it's not. But you're full. He doesn't have to shit his pants yet.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of time.
So the 9570, you had a hopper extension on that. What did that thing hold?
I did. I want to say it held about 310 or 20 bushels.
So what does the regular? So there's no extension on the 660 now. What's it hold?
Well, they're all aftermarket.
Oh,
if you go buy a combine, it's just the flat.
Yep.
Top combine. I'm sure Deere makes them.
Yeah.
But Manure, Crary, like all those aftermarket people are the ones who really make the nice hopper extensions. Yep. I don't know what a 660 would be.
What it held. Well,
stock.
The other thing is you're running an 8-row head, and so
the 8-row head on the 9570. I mean, they say it's good for it. I mean, not good for it, but the 9570 can run that big of a head.
You just don't run that fast.
Yeah, you can't run that fast with the 5.
The 660 though can run quicker.
Yeah,
so that could have been the
piles it up.
That could have been the thing too.
Down there,
yeah.
Well, and being so, all the other years before, so we've always had kind of the fuel problem with the combine. We could still run a decent clip in corn.
Yeah.
Well, it got to the point this year, which I think when I had to get the new moisture sensor, they had to upload a different program into the combine.
Yeah.
And then that convinced it that it was way short on power, and then I think that derated it even more.
Oh yeah, right.
Because
Yeah,
I went from running fine in corn to worse than I ever had really in beans. Well, not really worse than ever in beans. About the same in beans.
Yeah.
And then once he put that new moisture sensor in, I just had problems in corn
yeah.
that I've never had before.
Yeah. When he's like, "Do you want me to clear out all these codes?" Yeah, sure. And then it was like, "Oh boy,
Yeah.
nothing but problems."
Yeah, I think that's been on the YouTube video before. I've talked about beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
Constant.
Beep, beep, beep. Constant
Yeah.
beeping at me.
Yep.
So I got a year or two probably with the new one until that starts happening again, I'm sure.
Do you like your decision though? Are you happy with the 660?
I do. The first payment's due in October.
Like it right now.
We'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Or until they come back and say, yeah, well, it needs a new engine.
Yeah.
Just that. Well, we'll split it with you or something. Yeah, it's got DEF too. I'm not real.
Yeah, well, that's
Excited.
kind of
That is a
screwed now.
true pain in the ass.
Yeah.
We're all kind of screwed now on that.
We don't have it. We didn't have anything that had DEF until we bought that 331.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really around it, and I asked Dad, I was like, this DEF thing, like, what the fuck's the deal with that? And you're like, well, get used to it.
Yeah.
Because it's in everything now.
Yeah.
Everything new.
90 horse, I think.
Is it?
Because
There's delete options for
yeah,
things.
there are.
It's
Yep.
expensive, but and
There are.
probably comes with the fine.
Well, it's not that it's I mean, there's a cost there, but it's also just the convenience of it. Because
Oh, right.
you fill up one and
They don't empty at the
you don't
same
think
time.
about
Yeah.
you don't think about it because you're not used to it. So you fill it up with fuel and then you're out fucking around somewhere doing something. Next thing you know, it starts beeping at you that, oh, I didn't fill the DEF tank, and it's just
You don't
one
fill
more
it soon, we'll call the EPA.
Yeah, I know. I know. Somebody needs to defund them so their phone bill don't pay their phone bill. But anyway, it's the world we live in. So
we raised the best, for us, we raised the best crop we've ever had. So how was the result for you?
It was, right there. 2017 or 18 was better, but yeah, we were right there.
yeah, it's crazy.
Beans were,
Yeah. No, the beans.
Yeah, I should have prefaced that.
Yeah.
I'm not counting beans. I guess corn. Raised the best corn we've ever had.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
don't know how, but
rhyme or reason, I don't know how or why. The only thing I can figure is that dry early spell.
They just didn't get enough growth on them, I think.
Yeah.
I think that if they could have gotten a little more height on them before we got that rain, I think they probably would have been pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm talking the corn.
Oh, yeah,
That early dry spell for corn was good. Probably
Just a
not.
little too long.
Yeah, not good for beans, but
So yeah, we got done with corn and we had a hot toddy in the field, and Sawyer and I came home and slept and felt like $1,000,000. And then David went home and then walked his machine shed and looked at his manure bar and went, oh shit.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big top traveling shit show is what I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up doing, I think it was about 7 million gallon again this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, that was fun. Me and the old father-in-law struggled through the first
Yep.
3 jobs, and then Dwayne Hammond jumped in and helped us out throughout the rest of it. So it went well at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you didn't have to rebuild your pump this year.
No, I didn't have to rebuild my pump. My drag line is totally shot though, so I got to buy
The hose.
Yeah, I got to buy a new drag line next year. Apparently, so I did the math. I think this was my 4th season on it, and then I just kind of estimated how many acres I'd done, and then figured that I drug that thing about 5,000 miles.
Oh, that's pretty good then.
Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody drug my ass for 5,000 miles, I'd probably have a hole in it too. So,
Yeah, you wouldn't
Another-
look as good as
another
the
hole.
hose does.
right. So, yeah, that's I've got plans for next. Well, I sit in the tractor as it's auto steering, and I write down things that would help me next year. I'm like, okay, auto valves on the lead pump so I could shoot the pig whenever I needed to. or just shut off flow.
Yep.
Oh, and then modifications to the air hose, just things like that. But
Yeah.
once
Your biggest
corn prices started going down, I'm like, do I really need it?
Yeah. Well, your biggest opportunity is anything that you can automate because you run you run so thin on.
Yeah.
And I think most guys are probably in the same boat in the fact that labor's their biggest deal, but there's some guys out there that are drag lining that have hired men full time doing something else the rest of the year that they bring in for that.
Yeah. So my father-in-law, God bless him, he was there for me. He helped us last year, and then he was there again this year, and that was huge. And then, when Dwayne jumped in, once he got done, he helps another local farmer out doing some custom work. But once he jumped in, that was huge. I know that there is, there's like an exchange. There's an H-1B visa program or something with South African kids.
Yeah. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not sure about that.
You get them, and then we'll see how much.
I'm gonna share them.
Yeah, we'll see how much.
You got somewhere to put them.
How much talent they got, and if they
give them a GoPro.
Yeah, give them a GoPro if they've got some personality.
I bet they would be funny as hell.
Oh, they would be
on a YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you just said that you're having trouble keeping your house warm. Just have them live with you. No problem.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's the thing is you gotta put them up somewhere and then get them a vehicle to drive.
Yep. Well, you're almost there. You got more damn vehicles that you can drive anyway.
The vehicles things will not be a problem.
Hell, you got the camper sitting there. You ain't got time to go camping anyway.
I wonder if an old Chevy cargo van would count as transportation
all in one.
And
I think if you put it up on blocks to where it can't move. Oh no, I don't think you can have it move.
No.
I think if you get a van and put it on blocks.
I know a camper works. They say that you can put them in a camper, but I don't know about put them in my camper. If stuff freezes.
Yeah,
that would be bad. That would cause more problems than anything.
Just add on to the workroom in the north building.
Bunkhouse.
Put a bunkhouse out the north side.
Ooh, hey, I have an idea.
Yep, there you go.
Chore guy.
Yep.
100%.
Perfect.
Does Kalen watch this?
Put Kalen. Kalen's
my chore guy.
He's just using that for gambling money anyway. He don't need it.
And then excuse to get away from his wife, probably.
Yep. He'll be on to something else.
We could maybe do that.
See? I think we're getting it figured out.
Great ideas.
Jeez. Yep. And you guys would have a chore guy too.
We could.
Perfect.
We could do the whole thing.
I don't know. Are they allowed to stay a whole year though? I think it's.
They got to go back. They got to go back. It takes 2 weeks. I think.
They go back for 2 and then come back, or
so they have to go back and reapply. However, if you have one of these agencies that's doing the paperwork for you, they can pretty much have all the paperwork ready and sent to the consulate, I think, when they go back. And then they only have to, I think they only physically, somebody's going to correct us on this, I guarantee it, because my experience with it on the hog side, when we first started that, I thought they had to be there like a month. But what they found out was back home.
Yeah.
But part of that's because they're allowing like travel time and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have an agency that's really good at what they're doing, they can have all the paperwork done and to the consulate to where they only have to be in country like 2 weeks, and then it can be processed and they can come back.
So they take some of my money and travel the world on the way back, and
I don't know. Most of them.
That's how I'd do it if I were.
Well, I know, but
them.
Nobody'd hire you.
Well, you do.
Yeah. I know. I was just gonna say, look at you.
It's pretty low.
Yeah. Not when I was younger. You're saying.
Yes, right.
I gotcha.
Right.
I got you.
You or the Widoff boys. None of you would be good candidates for a work.
Right.
More like work release, not work around the world.
Yeah, my wife and I talked about our quality of life going forward, And she's like, well, if we do this scenario that we were talking about, she's like, our life would be terrible. And I'm like, well, we might get to the point where if we don't do that, then my life is going to be terrible.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, we're going to have to
We either share the pain or it's just pain for me.
Right.
I don't know.
It's damn expensive being a man.
No, but yeah, anyway, so back to the manure. We have one pump and then a booster. And luckily, so we talked about, well, we were just talking about the hiring of the South Africans, but Rich's hire South Africans. And I think it's just Darren and one other guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to them too. They were huge. They gave me a pump to run, and that was props to them. They're fantastic people. So that helped me out quite a bit because you get strung out a long ways, your gallons just fall off.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have those pumps in there. We run a 6-inch feed line, and I don't like to push my pressures too much. So I've been running pressures 200 pounds tops because I got hoses almost as old as Sawyer, I think.
Yeah.
Probably older than Sawyer for my feeder hoses. And we were told don't go over 200.
Yeah.
Well, I guess burst pressure on them is like 400. So
you amped her up a little bit.
Well, no, I didn't. I stayed with what I was. I think, and in talking to Darren, he's like, the more pumps you can put in line, the lower you can run your pressures.
Oh, sure.
And the longer you can get out of your hose. Yeah, the longer you can get out of your hose.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
If you're a livestock producer, you've got Manure. Our partner has your solution. Livestock Water and Energy creates clean, recyclable water, carbon credits, and 2 solid byproducts, fertilizer and salts, from processing manure in real time. They clean the manure, and we get clean, recyclable water back to the barn, clean as a whistle. This process creates additional revenue streams for the livestock producer that they didn't have before. These guys put something together, and it's starting to smell like opportunity. Give them a shout at livestockwaterandenergy.com, or you can follow along on the journey on our channel, This Will Do Farm, because we're going to be working with these guys, and we're getting a project underway. So go to This Will Do Farm if you want to follow the journey. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
How long have you been running the deer system?
Oh, the Harvest Lab?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you talked to them about that?
No.
They don't know what it is. So, Harvest Lab 3000 is a program or a piece of equipment, I guess, that Deere came up with, a system that Deere came up with. Most of it is in the system, but there is is in the equipment, but there is some software update that's still like $5,000. But it started on silage machines. But it uses infrared or near infrared light to measure the nutrients in the silage. And then they converted that into a system that measures the nutrients in hog manure.
Yep.
So we hung that on the stinger of our manure bar.
Yep.
And then it tells me live as we're going through the field how much nitrogen I'm putting on per acre.
It measures it in real time.
In real time at any given minute. Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and then pretty cool, the amount of organic matter and dry matter.
Yep.
So what you're saying is when you're putting in manure into the ground, we're not just doing this shit blindly.
Right.
We're not just pouring this shit onto the field without knowing what the fuck we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's just what it was. So,
because that's what a lot of people think farmers do. Or if you have no perspective, it's what it seems like people think we do.
Right. The method without that is you go out and you sample your pit. Now you're supposed to get a composite view.
You get a
full profile view, like the whole depth of the manure.
Yep.
And then put that in a bucket and
stir it up.
Send that in, and then they tell you how much nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus is in it, as well as
whatever else,
myriad of other stuff, sulfur and whatever. But that changes. Mm-hmm. So when you start out in a pit, I mean, I've noticed we're looking at 3 3 to 5% organic matter as you get started in a manure or in a pit. And then as you go down, that number climbs because it
gets thicker.
There's just only so much stirring you can do.
Yep.
To get a homogeneous mix, you're just not going to get it. So you pull mainly liquid throughout the top 60%, and then you get down to that bottom 20 to 40%, and it starts getting thick.
Yeah.
And then that changes your night. All three of your numbers, your NP and K, they all change. I bought it for the hopes that I could kind of control how much I was putting on. Mm-hmm. But when you're dealing with limited manure to what you're putting on your ground, the best that I can figure out to do right now at this point is put on a flat rate, and then I'm going to come back later.
Yeah.
And then do more like a prescription NPK plan afterwards to try to get everything to even out.
Yeah. So for us, what I love about it is before you were painting your fields with a
Broad
6-inch broad brush. So you were saying
it was nothing but rate.
Right.
Yeah.
You took a sample, and that sample said that you had, if you put 5,000 gallons of manure on, based on that rate, you were putting on 200 pounds of nitrogen, although you're really not, because the first thing you got to know about manure is not all of that is available the first year. So the first thing you do is you discount that and say, okay, if I'm putting 200 pounds on,
50% of it.
50% of it. If you really want to be aggressive, you can say 70, but there's a lot of work now that people think it's more like 50% of that is available the first year.
Yeah.
So you have to discount it. But then the problem is, just like you said, that sample you used, that literally is just like reaching up and grabbing a number out of the sky, because as you pump that pit,
it changes.
The numbers are going to change. So at the end of the day, all you know that you did is you put X number thousands gallons on.
Yeah.
And you hope that it's somewhere. Well, you hope that you at least got enough nitrogen that when you come back and side dress, that's going to make up. Yeah. That is going to get you to the units that you want to be for what you're.
Where do you want to be if people don't know?
And it's so what's kind of tough, and I'm not happy about it. I'd like to apply manure in the spring or during the summer during the growing season, but I'm afraid I wouldn't get any of it done.
Yep.
But it tells me when I put the manure on, it maps my total in. So that's ammonium nitrate, which is more water soluble and is more likely to go away, as well as that stuff that you're talking about is tied up in the soil.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can go out and put on 300 pounds of nitrogen, but
how much of it's actually
how much
there?
Is it going to be there?
Yeah. So people that don't know, pretty much the equation on nitrogen is just about, if you're shooting for 250 bushel corn, your ground can grow that. You about got to have 250 units of nitrogen to get it there.
Per acre.
Yeah.
But most, like for us, we're kind of, we're limited in the fact that we're going to pump all the manure that we have, and however far that gets us, we're going to make the manure last to cover all of our corn acres, which means that we may not put on.
We're not shooting for 300 everywhere because we couldn't do that.
Right. We could.
Whatever number you say.
Yeah, whatever it is. So it's more about, we're going to try to take the total number of gallons we have and make them cover everything. And then whatever that ends up being for the amount of nitrogen we have, it probably is not going to be that whole 250 units.
Yeah.
So we're going to make up the difference in side dressing, or we're going to put some on in the planter and side dress, or worst case scenario, we're going to fly some on or put some on with drops or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're trying to fill our whole fertility program just out of the manure, because we know that we probably aren't going to get there. But the deer system is way better in the fact that even though we're volume restricted, in other words, even if we knew as we're putting it on that we're not putting on as much as we need, we do know what's out there, so then we can make that adjustment when we go to put on
for our fertility program long term for the whole year.
So we can say, okay, well,
we just took a look at the yield maps yesterday,
and
that was really nice to be able to be like, okay, you're good here and you're a little low here, so you kind of you can plan out where you're going to side dress more or less, which is nice.
Then the predictor programs they have now will tell you how much you used. Your last soil sample and how much you need to supplement. No, I did. So I've been using RTK and putting all my manure in furrow. I did that for you guys too. But last summer, when it came to side dress time, I was like, how much do I have? So I went out and I sampled in each row, and it came back saying that I had 600 pounds of nitrogen an acre. And the guy at the lab is like, I don't think he has that. He probably shouldn't have probed.
You were probing right in the row.
He's like, you probably shouldn't have probed right in the row. But he's like, I would guess you're probably in that 150 pound range. And he's like, to be honest, he goes, we have no idea. We, the people in the labs, don't have any idea what to tell you. You have out there.
Right. Because nobody really knows how far that manure, how far the plant can pull it from that furrow. Well, you know it can pull it. It's just at what stage is it pulling it to where can it pull it when it needs it?
Yeah.
Does it have to be this far? Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So you have a minivan, you have an Enclave, you have a 1-ton Chevy pickup, you have a 3/4-ton Chevy pickup, you have the Civic, you still have the Colorado.
Yeah.
And then you have your dad's. Do you still have the Denali pickup?
We don't have a 1-ton. So
no, his black pickup.
Yeah. Oh, that is a 1. Yeah, that's a 1-ton.
Yeah. You have it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So out of all those vehicles, when you walk out of the house, you head for the Civic.
I don't blame you for not being able to get every vehicle oil on the time. It's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
You know that you're gonna be that old farmer that everybody thinks has cream.
I'm gonna be set when everybody else's vehicles shit out and they still want an internal combustion motor and everything that's left is electric.
Oh, is that your ploy? Mm-hmm. You're gonna be stacked. I've
got 3 kids getting close to driving age too. So
that's the nice. I was gonna say that's the nice part for you.
Civic, Colorado.
Why sell it? Yeah, the Civic and the Colorado, perfect.
Yep.
The Civic might be kind of tough since it don't have a speedometer, but maybe that'll get him out of a ticket.
Just put a wooden block. Screw a wooden block.
I'll give that to my daughter.
Just screw a wooden block to the accelerator that you can't get it to go down all the way.
Yeah,
that'll work.
I'll put gradation and I'm like, this is interstate speed, and then flip it up for 2-lane speed.
Yes. Yep. That sounds like a plan.
And just keep it in second gear in town.
Okay, well, I'm just glad you were able to make it
here,
the 5.3 miles to get here. So,
we
were talking about manure, and you brought up a good point.
Well, I was just listening to you talk about what's the goal is to get all your acres covered best you can, but also the reason we don't overdo it for every acre is because your soil type matters.
Yeah.
Like big time. So for us, our soil type, us going for 300 bushels an acre doesn't make sense for where we're at. Maybe in the future, if hybrids get better, that might be a possibility but for us right now, that doesn't make sense.
But going for 250 does.
Yeah, right.
But there are people that have soil types that it would make no sense for you to strive for putting on 250 pounds of units of nitrogen because the soil cannot. That plant, you're not going to be able to raise a crop that big.
Yeah.
And so that's all the reason, people have manure management plans and you variable rate. And that's why we have all this technology, because the other thing is that product, I think people don't realize that today that manure is valuable. Like if I wasn't utilizing it all, there's all kinds of people that I could sell that manure to that would want it.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty well proven out that there are elements to that manure that make it higher quality than commercial fertilizer. There's plenty of things in there. The organic matter.
Yeah, it's not just the nitrogen.
Yeah. It's everything you get. So it's not like there's no incentive to over apply it if you can't use it because it's too valuable to not use it efficiently.
Yeah, for
Great.
sure.
Great for the people that think we just throw the shit in the ditches.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
We just got to throw that shit out there, you know?
Yep. We're very efficient.
I see comments that there's people that have no idea. They like tuning into our episodes that have no association with farming, and we just want to make sure that those people are taken care of.
How come you're not grass feeding your pigs?
Oh,
we
gosh.
are feeding them a vegan diet, though.
You will be surprised when we get those kind of comments. Man,
You've
it
told me
drives you
that
nuts. Drives you nuts. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
That pig ain't going to look good if you grass feed it.
Yeah.
No, the pigs
Probably
pigs
gonna be
don't
dead.
take to the grass very well.
Gotta
Gotta
root it up and wallow in it.
Yeah,
is
they'd
all
rather
they do.
have the dirt underneath than the actual grass. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Can't grow a pig on grass.
not very well.
Feed it to happy grass. Maybe
Yeah.
happy pigs come
Yeah.
from Iowa.
So I've always been curious about this, and this is just, I feel like there's a lot of farmers out there, obviously struggling, but there's a lot of young farmers out there looking to get in, or maybe they're looking to diversify their operation. I feel like you've done a pretty good job of that. You do a lot of custom stuff, and like you're in that, you do that in all levels of the playing field when it comes to farming. Do you feel like that's the most, like, is the manure the most lucrative thing you do? Is all of it kind of add up? Is it, if there's a young guy out there, like, how do you make that work? If he's like, shit, I need to do something to bring value to the operation or help us grow this thing. Like, do you have any advice becoming a custom operator?
Custom combining and planning, there ain't as much money as there is in manure. But when it comes to manure, the cost of equipment is a lot more. Yeah, kind of the reason when I came to the farm in 2012, Dad had just gotten into drag lining, and I wanted absolutely nothing to do with the custom work because I wanted to work my ground every fall, which I've gone away from that now.
Yep.
Glad I have, because I didn't like what I was doing with working the ground. I wanted nothing to do with the custom side of it, but our equipment was old and it was junk when we bought it.
Yep.
So the light bulb came on and said, well, if I want to do better equipment to get ours done better and more efficiently, well, then I'm going to have to supplement our income a little bit more so we can afford maybe a new drag line and some other stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, we're kind of at the point where we're just breaking even right now as far as keeping the drag line stuff going. Like I said, I've got improvements that I want to make. Another booster pump would be great, something that I could control from the tractor cab.
Yep.
That ain't in the budget this year.
Yep.
We'll have to pay off a few loans, and then maybe we can get to that point. But that's kind of why I'm in the drag line for custom work, is to help pay for the equipment that we're running. Yeah, I mean, if you've got it for your own farm and you can do it for others, though, yeah, absolutely, definitely, I would look at doing custom work for other people.
Yeah,
for sure.
The other advantage,
it packs a lot of stuff on in the fall.
Yeah.
Though
Yeah, you're busy.
You're busy in the fall. Granted, planning don't take but 4 or 5 days for us, but if that's your only window in the spring, that's still what makes me nervous. That's still why I don't want to do manure in the spring. Plus, you're adding more moisture to a ground that you really need to be about as dry as possible.
Yep.
When you plant. So,
Do you feel like also what's nice about doing combining with us and planting with us, do you feel like you shouldn't do custom work for people that have very different operations in years? Like, as far as if we had too many acres or not enough acres versus we have similar sized operations, I would say.
Yeah.
Close. So it's easy to, when you get done planting, you can just hop over here, do this. It's not easy, but it's easier than.
Yeah, what works out for us is you got gentle rolling hills, and you're usually a little drier before we are in the springtime when it comes to planting. So that diversity definitely helps us.
The other thing that makes it easy
when we work together on that.
When I go to the chemical guy and he's like, "What do you want to do with this or that?" I go,
You can't blow it up your ass.
"Well, what's David doing?
Right.
And he'll go, well, David's doing this. And I say, well, then that's probably what we're going to do then, because that's what's going to be on the planners.
Yeah.
We're probably going to do
Yeah.
that. So it makes it easy.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm handcuffed. I can only do one system on the planner. And I go back and forth like every other year is I'm putting infro stuff in, or then I'm doing 2x2 starter, and I'm back to 2x2 starter again this year. So
yeah. The other thing that you've got going, though, for you, to your point about bringing extra income, part of what makes what you've been able to do work is you're handy. Your father was very handy, and you're handy.
Yeah.
Because that's not a money maker, but the amount of money in a given year that you save, because I explain this to people, whenever we break something, the average person would get their phone, and the first thought is, who in the hell am I going to call? David's first thought is, what's that look like? Right. I think I got a piece laying around. I think we can just cut that. If we just cut that out right there, and we get some,
tape,
we tack that in, and we get some expanding foam and some tape, I think we'll be fine. I think we can finish.
Duct tape, baling wire, and zip ties. Yeah.
And he
a
can
little
weld.
welding rod.
He can weld too. So
Yeah,
that
you
helps.
sell yourself short. You're pretty good with the welding rod.
We had a deal. So this fall, the overhead door in the shop took a shit on me. So we went all fall, me and the father-in-law and Dwayne,
Oh, man.
pushing that shop door up and down because I didn't have the time to fix it then.
Yep.
And we had to get stuff in. The air compressor we got don't like to start in the winter.
Yep.
Or when it gets below like 50. So just last week, I was like, hey, the snow, I think, is pretty much gone.
Yep.
So let's get the bucket lift in the shop and get up there and work on it. And sure enough, it was just a keyway had fallen out of the drive shaft on,
so
the,
it was just
on the
spinning.
main pulley. So it was just spinning on that shaft up there. Well, then I decided to do regular maintenance on it, and I start lubing stuff up, and then you're like, oh, well, that bearing looks like it's about ready to go out. Shouldn't have done that.
Should have walked away.
Should've walked away. But then you don't know when it is going to go out. So I'm like,
Next
okay,
fall.
I'll just go ahead and fix it now. I called Overhead Door Company. The thing was put up in 88 when Dad and Mom put the shop in the barn.
Yep.
Oh, that unit. No, we don't have parts for that anymore. Mm-hmm. Great. It was like a little, those press-in wheels that's on a hand truck?
Yep.
On those down. That's what that bearing was, just a little bit.
One grade up.
One grade up. Minor step up, but it lasted this long.
Yep.
So I ordered one online, and it wasn't going to fit anyway, but I don't think it would have lasted a couple years. So I had to go to Ace, and I grabbed a 3/4 inch bearing, like a standard auger bearing, and then I couldn't find, they didn't have the carrier there.
Yep.
So I went over to the new tractor supply company. I think they're trying to be just like Orscheln's, as they
So they have a bin?
They only had one.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be...
They only had one altogether. They only had one carrier for that bearing, and it was the exact one I needed.
Was your lucky day then?
My lucky day. So anyway, I took that home, and then I came up with the way that I put a block behind it so I could use a hole saw rather than sit there with a die grinder and go like this for... I'd probably still be doing it.
Yep.
But I drilled that hole out, put two holes in it, and now we're back up and running. The garage door...
It's good for a decade.
The garage will probably... Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be good for another 35 years, but...
Yeah.
It might be good enough for you till somebody else has to fix it.
Right.
That's the goal.
So that's kind of the thing you weigh when you do your own fix-it projects is, okay, I can fix it, but it'll probably take me... That took me a week and a half to do...
Yep.
Just a little simple fix on a garage door. Whereas you hire the big boys in, and of course they would have seen that, and it'd have been 5 trips, and they would have
they would have just
they'd have recommended a whole new unit, but they would have got it done probably in less time than I spent on it. But
they would have charged you to look at it, wasted some time, and then just said you need a whole new unit, charge you for the whole new unit, but didn't bring a whole new unit,
right?
So they could ding you 2 or 3 times on the trip charge.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, stuff's... I feel like we've piled up enough stuff that now it's getting harder to fix everything. Mm-hmm. I've got my the engine on the 4440 started puking out antifreeze. I think it's probably just something easy like a head gasket, but that thing's got the tractor itself. I'm sure it's got 20,000 on it. I don't know if it was overhauled before we got it at the 10,000 mark.
Yep.
So, I mean, I could pop the head, put a new head gasket on it, but
Yep.
that would be dumb.
Yep.
Well, you got the head off. You might as well
rebuild her.
give her an overhaul, but
Yep.
I don't know that I got the time to
do it.
to do that.
Yep.
I know what an overhaul kit costs through the Deere store.
Yep.
A lot better than a new motor.
Yep.
Or a reman motor.
100%. Just takes time.
And then the other thought in my head is, well, I'll just put a reman in and then I'll take that motor out and I'll set it off to the side and then I'll use that as a manure pump later. But then I'm like, then I got to buy a radiator and a starter and because the remans are just block itself.
Yep. You're just a mad scientist.
You already got one motor sitting in there waiting for you to put
That would run a 6-inch hool pump.
Yeah, it would.
That would run it. That's
100%.
a 250 horse motor.
Just a little more time.
That was my other thing too. I'm like, okay, well, I'll build my own pump this year, but time and again the money factor with $4 corn, I don't think is going to happen this year. But
Yeah, so that when we're in 24, we're getting, every day we're a little closer to somebody feeling like they ought to go plant corn. You may have already answered this question. So what do you think 24, what do you think is priority number one for crop year 24?
Different leadership.
Have you put razor wire around the property at Tall Corn Acres?
Do I need it?
I don't know.
We're talking about China. I thought of this when we were talking about China's population bomb.
Yeah.
I have a solution for Chicago and New York.
Load them up.
Send them over to China.
There you go.
Most of them are probably from China anyway.
Yeah, could be.
Send them.
Could be.
There you go.
Yeah, the razor wire thing, is that a reference to the
border?
Well, I know it's to the border, but there was a guy that straight up asked, didn't he say he's taking away razor wire from the Border Patrol agency because it's going to help them get to illegals faster coming over the border? They're getting rid of razor wire.
Get rid of it.
So it's easier for them
to get out.
It's easier for the Border Patrol to
apprehend
the illegal immigrants.
I thought when they were tangled up in the razor wire, they're pretty hard to get away from.
Let me dance around this question. So, yeah.
Huh. Oh, there I went using logic. I'm sorry, not supposed to use logic.
No, throw that out the window.
Let's just throw that in there. So to me, I think 24 went from always have grand ideas of things I want to add to the farm. And I think, okay, well, next year we're going to be in good shape to do this or that. And then inevitably this time of year, you look out at the environment and you go, okay, no, this year will be a good year just to try to keep your shit together for another year. Yeah. So
duct tape and baling wire everything and squeaker through.
I had a question in here.
Pay off some debt.
I had a question in here that if you had any, if you were contemplating at all stepping up to an 8R in anything so you could sell Sawyer your 8420 because he'd really like to have it.
That's his mistress. Does your girlfriend know about 8420?
Oh, I don't know.
You gave her a ride on
it. Yeah, that's. I spent some time in there. In that
you seen that?
I've rode it two times. You made two.
So yeah, I guess my switch for this year is I still haven't bought it yet, but I plan to. Is that strip till rig?
Yeah.
It's going to get hairy because the only thing that I can really run, I could run it with the 9460, but big old balloon tires on that thing, and it's a 3-point mount.
Yeah.
I don't know that would do well on my pinch rows. I'd be pinching like 6 rows every pass.
Yeah.
With that big hog. So, when it comes go time, I'm going to have my planter already hooked up and ready to go, but then unhook it and hook up to the strip till rig and then go do all my strip tilling and then
You're not ready to go back to the 46. Not going to put the planter
No,
on
I'm
the 46?
not ready to go back to the 4640 on the planter.
Okay.
So, sorry, Sawyer, she's not available. I'm actually, if there was another tractor coming in, I'm going to need it.
I wouldn't sell it either. It's too good.
There's a guy.
There's a deer dealer told me that was pretty much about the best tractor ever made.
There's a guy in Illinois.
I would agree.
Or there's a guy in Nebraska that's selling a 8530 with 1887 original hours on it. What do you think he wants for it?
$250.
What are you guessing? You're damn good. 247.5. And he'll have no problem getting that, I bet.
So we're doing Dad's estate now, and I don't know what it had on it when we got it, but I know Dwight Dua came back and said it's worth more now than it was in 2008
I believe that.
when we bought it.
Well, those pre-def.
Well, dollar-wise, it's worth more, but
Yeah.
that's because dollar's worth about half what it was in 2008.
True.
Yeah.
And you got to go replace it. That's the whole thing. It's,
Yeah, pre-def, low-ish hours,
yeah.
4,800 hours on it.
Yep. Nope. Can't beat it.
So yeah, that's my upgrade for this year. It's going to be kind of a hassle in the spring, and I'm excited to see. So I'm hoping that fixes my emergence issues.
Yeah.
With stripping my manure, I want to get my seed as close to dead center where that manure went.
Yep.
I just had hairpinning last year, and it kind of crusted up the seed bed.
Yep.
So that's my thought is what that's going to do is alleviate some of that.
Yeah, and you'll get it warm up just a little bit. It'll warm up a little bit better, dry out a little bit faster.
That's the big thing. So I went out and I bought, years ago we bought row cleaners, and I agree that they clean the row, but if your field is not
Perfect.
a constant blanket of that fodder over the row, what you just uncovered is not going to warm up as fast as what was already bare dirt.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I agree.
especially when we're planting, our daytime highs are pushing 70
Yeah.
at best. Nighttime lows are still in the 40s and 50s. So you're not putting that much heat in the ground if you're just uncovering it
Right.
that day.
Right.
So
I was just gonna say I want to switch gears a little bit. Are you guys still want to have your farmer cap on, or do you want to get crazy with it?
You
politically?
better get the tinfoil out.
I know.
We're gonna run out of
Tinfoil
time.
or farmer hat.
I could do another one of these, I guess.
You're good on time.
You got anything else you want to say about farming?
No, I think we got it. We're going to try to hold our shit together, and that's about it.
Batten down the hatches.
I do.
About all you can do.
I am interested to see your solids manure and how that pans out.
We are too.
And I would, if it got to the point where I could do that with the strip till rig,
Yeah.
I'd get rid of most of my manure stuff.
Yeah. I know that's what I think is fascinating about it is if we could convert to a solid manure and a very consistent product where you knew what the analysis was, and then you could apply that. If you could apply that in a strip and then use your strip till to incorporate it, I think that would be a sweet setup.
Yeah, even with my vertical till coulters, I'm cutting a slot in the ground and that manure is infiltrating, but I still think I'm going to have some soil stratification. I don't think that all of the P and the K that I'm putting on is getting
in there
down into the ground. And if I'm going no-till, I think we're going to start having shortage on P and K.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think we're on the same logic. We just we're kind of on the last hurdle to start building our building and get that machine set, and we're hoping that early this spring we're going to be separating manure. So as soon as we can start getting a product so we can figure out what we've got and what the value is and what kind of a rate we would be applying it at, then I think we'll let old Handy Andy over there figure out how to get it going.
Pick up the shit.
You're going to be looking at, so when I put on 5,000 gallon an acre, it's in the 200-pound range of solid. So that's what you're going to be
Yep.
spreading. I don't know what that compares to.
It's not very much.
Commercial fertilizer-wise.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty. I'd say it's pretty comparable.
Is that how much they put on commercially?
Oh, no, I don't think so. But a machine like us, as far as a spreader goes, I think you're right in there. I don't think you have any trouble getting something to spread it at that rate. I think it'll be pretty easy. The thing that I'm most interested in is trying to figure out a way, and it may not matter. It really may not matter. I was just thinking, boy, it'd be great if you could somehow spread it banded.
Yeah.
Because what you're getting between where you're strip tilling isn't going to get incorporated, but it may not be that big a deal.
Yeah. I think people that have been no-tilling are going to kind of see, well, I'm not utilizing all of that stuff I've been paying for. It's all sitting. I mean, it goes in the soil this much.
Yeah, that's right.
Every year.
That's right. So you really got to wonder how long we can go before we have issues, and I don't know. We'll have to figure that out, I guess.
But to that extent, no-tillers will yell at us. Well, we've been no-tilling for 30 years, and we're
got
still
no
getting
problems.
really good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's something that we're blowing out of proportion.
You got to try to know. Trial and error.
Trial and error, baby.
Got to get the yields up somehow.
Like governing this country. Trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Get you
it's not
aware.
the same. Maybe
let's
that's
do
not
it.
quite
Let's
the
get
same.
ourselves canceled. What do you say?
All right. Well, I was just going to ask you what do you think about the craziness of this year? What do you think 2024 is going to hold? Who do you think is going to get elected? Just your overall thoughts of 2024.
Well, it'll be dumber than last year.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Props to Texas for finally doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd wait for the courts when you know what the courts are going to tell you. Mm-hmm. I mean, they could have shut the border when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wall should have been built decades ago.
Yeah, and we can shut the border today. I'm not totally sure. People seem to be really wanting to tell you that this bill to give a bunch of money to Ukraine and a bunch of money to Israel and a bunch of money for amnesty and a little bit of money to secure the border, we could shut the border down tomorrow if we wanted to.
Right.
And we could have shut it down. And let's
Take
not
some money
forget
away from the WHO and the UN
and let's not forget that we already raised a bunch of money last year and the year before and the year before that. I mean, we've been funding border security for a long time.
Every other country but ours.
I don't know why it is all of a sudden that we need all this money.
Why do you actually think, because let's be honest, it's intentional, and I don't think it's out of stupidity. Like, I don't think they're stupid. What do you think it is? Do you think it's votes? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Or chaos? Do you think they want chaos?
George Soros and the Color Revolution.
Yeah.
You guys heard of these?
Mm-hmm.
World Economic
He's
Forum.
collapsed multiple countries this way.
Yep. And made a lot of money off of it.
He calls it and made a lot of money. That's how he made his money, was, destroying economies.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's just trying to destroy the world, destroy the U.S. through his color revolution. And, everyone that comes in will vote the right way.
Yeah.
According
I think
to
it is
what they
100%.
think.
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's on a national scale. I think at the end of the day, because they don't have to be. Well, for the United States, it doesn't have to be anything greater than can you flip Texas?
Right, yeah.
If you flip Texas,
it's over. Yeah.
The rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you flip Texas, the rest doesn't matter because you've got
they're not
the East
leaving
Coast,
them.
you got the West Coast.
They're not leaving them all in
That's
Texas.
not by their choice, though.
Yeah.
That's Texas's choice that they're busting them all over God's green earth.
Yeah.
So and that's not good either. I mean,
No, none of it's none
they're
of it's
going to get
good.
to Chicago and New York and go, this place is a hellhole. I'm going to go to Iowa or I'm going to go to Ohio.
I'm going to go to Tall Corn Acres.
Probably.
That looks like a great place over
He's
there.
got plenty of vehicles.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of vehicles, a camper I can live in. And it's a real nice
$5 an
attic
hour.
in the hog building. Move right in there.
Nice attic.
It'd be like the State Farm commercial. The last 6 months been the best days of my life.
That insulation's cloud. That insulation's like a cloud mattress.
No, I mean, as far as like closing it now, though, like, I guess it is to the point now where Texas does have support from at least half or more of the states.
Yep.
if they'd have shut the border down a few years ago, you probably would have had some states like, well, you should have let the court figure it out.
Yeah.
But
It's too far
we
now.
all knew what the court was going to do.
You have
They shut down Arizona years ago.
Yeah. You've got states now that, well, maybe not the whole state, but you definitely have mayors in this country that are far left, that even they are speaking up and saying something's got to change. Now, they're not going to step out of line
over
enough.
3,000 people, whereas Texas gets at every day.
Yeah. And it's only going to, this is only going to.
Do you think it could get to the point where they're like, deuces, I'm out. We're doing our own. We're going to be our own.
Texas?
Yeah.
Depends on how the election goes.
I don't know.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Texas is close to flipping without
This shit.
importing
Yeah.
people. And I saw a video yesterday, Oakland. This lady's showing this video of Oakland, like this store's closed. Walmart's even closed here.
Yep.
Where are those people going to go?
Yep.
They're going to go to a red state. Mm-hmm. And when they get here, how are they going to vote?
Yep.
Yeah.
The wrong way.
I mean, I don't think we have to import them from because people naturally move to an urban area,
Yep. A prosperous one.
and for some reason they get dumb when they do that.
Do you think
And
they're gonna?
forget where food comes from.
Do you think Trump will win the election? Do you think they'll let him win? Do you think he'll get it?
Right.
You think he'll get there?
I don't know. The margin for cheating is going to be a lot larger.
Yeah.
They're going to have to try a lot harder. They're going to have to find a lot more vans at midnight in Detroit.
Vegas odds are 55%. I looked Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know about the polls. So the polls in the primary appear to have been right, but were they manufactured so that non-Trump people just, it's over, I'm not going to vote?
Yep.
So they were dead right, but did they create a real life scenario narrative out of that?
Does Nikki Haley stay in all the way to the?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think she's hanging on to say I went all the way to the end. Trump is convicted, or he will be convicted.
Yep.
You gotta take me.
Got to
now.
be me.
And then if she wins, I could even say the Uniparty says, well, we'll just let her have it.
Yep.
That way people still think, oh, there's
a choice.
There's still elections in America.
Yeah. Right. I agree with you 100%.
Fuck. I didn't even think about that.
She's more dangerous. She
That's
is
fucking
as
terrible.
dangerous or more dangerous than anybody that we get from the Democrats.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, because then we're all like, things are great. We got a Republican now. Well,
Oh, that would be
It's
fucking
true.
bad.
I think it's 100% true.
Oh,
Yeah.
Somebody, I can't
because that's honestly, I can't imagine they look at Biden and go, "Yeah, that's who we trust is going to take us to the promised land or get our agenda done the next 4 years." I mean, she might be you're right. She might be the fucking plan because, I mean, I don't know. She just seems very bought by somebody.
Oh, she is 100%.
Complex, military industrial complex.
yeah, the couple of years ago,
She might be just a wolf or sheep hiding. What do people say?
She's a wolf in sheep's
Wolf
clothing.
in
wolf in
sheep's
sheep's clothing. Yeah.
what did Nancy say? A wolf in wolf's clothing.
Yeah.
I think Pelosi said that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Or you can't. Oh, and she said you can't yell wolf in a crowded theater. I think too.
Yeah.
Yep. She's a hell of a stock picker, though.
Right? Yeah. Damn. Yeah. I'd take care of you guys if I was Nancy.
Yep. No, I agree with you.
That's
No,
yeah.
I think so. About a year ago, there was this big mic kick. Michelle Obama was on TV everywhere, and I could see them throwing her in.
I've seen people talk about
There's
that too.
Plenty of soft-headed suburbanites that'd be like,
Well,
kinder, gentler, back to reality.
Yep. The perfect
think that
scenario
would be fun.
is you get to March, and then out of nowhere, not really out of nowhere because it could happen at any moment, but out of nowhere, Joe Biden has a health issue that can't be overcome.
I thought it was funny that of all the states that were looking hard into Hunter was California.
Yeah, that's weird.
Is that Gavin?
Probably.
Yep.
But
They're trying to make
same.
him look. They're trying to make him look more presidential and more middle.
Yeah.
They are. They totally are.
Gavin saying, I got
I don't
the
think he
jacks.
can.
I got the aces in the hole.
Yeah.
But I think Biden has. I don't. This sounds crazy, and maybe it is. But if anything's going to happen on that front, it will be Biden. You get past to where it's too late for them to have a convention. The Democrats can't have a convention because it's too late. Biden has a health issue. Nobody wants Kamala.
Yeah.
So the Democratic machine says, okay,
But wouldn't she automatically just become? Though?
I think so, but I don't know how that works with the national. I don't know how that works within the party.
Yeah, you go back to 2020 and you look at the first few states that had the Democratic caucus or
Bernie.
primary. Biden was what, 5th, 6th?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everybody converges and all of a sudden he's your winner. I don't think they had a true primary last time. I think he was just handed
Filler.
it.
So your idea of Michelle,
And yeah, like you said, at the end of this year's primary, they'll say, "Oh, well, y'all voted for Joe, but I don't think he's going to do it."
yeah, we're gonna have to come up with a better plan.
And he'll do this true statesman thing and just step down.
Step down, and he'll endorse the person that he wants to have follow him, which will not be Kamala because he didn't like her from the start.
Yeah.
And it will be Michelle or Gavin Newsom. I think it will be Michelle if that happens.
Well, I don't see who else it could be. Honestly, I really don't. What do you think about Tucker Carlson interviewing Putin? That's coming out on Twitter. He's in Russia right now. He's going to interview Putin.
Tucker's gone away a lot lately.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to explode once he got away from Fox, but
He's on Twitter. He's blown the fuck up on Twitter.
I don't care. I mean,
I love it. I think it's awesome.
I don't know how you can walk into Russia and ask Vladimir a hard question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's going to tread pretty lightly, but
I think I'd have to see it to see how he asks the questions. I mean, when the Ukraine thing started, Tucker was right. I mean, Ukraine is just a money laundering scheme for the rich,
Elite.
military
elitists.
industrial complex, and then it's all coming back to politicians who are invested in that, and it's making the rich oligarchs in Ukraine rich. So Tucker was right there. I'd have to see his interview. I don't think he's on Putin's side.
No, I don't think he
judging
is.
by his past, I don't think he's.
I think what he
Putin
wants to
stooge.
do is just show Americans, because I feel like we're very we're censored. We don't see that shit. We don't see what's happening.
Oh,
It's
Right.
like the
They
farmers.
ain't showing us shit anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning,
the farmer strike.
don't
Nobody's
show us
covering
any of that. Yeah,
of it.
it's not. People say it's free. It's free country. We're censored. I feel
our
like
news
Oh,
is
God.
social media, same thing.
our news is terrible. We don't get shown anything that goes on outside.
your local news is not at all local.
No, not at all.
It's a talking point that comes down from
Yeah.
national. You get some of the local stories.
Yeah.
But
As long as it's not about anything of
those
substance.
local stories are so fun to listen to.
Yeah.
You can clearly watch them walk you right through what you're supposed to think about it.
Yep.
Rogan, we were just talking about that. That's what makes podcasts pretty fucking awesome in 2024 is just Spotify pays Joe Rogan $250 million to continue doing what he's doing. And Dad and I were just talking about it's the point you just made. Local news, mainstream media, Tucker going and interviewing Putin. All of mainstream media is pissed about it. But they can't do a fucking thing about it.
Yeah.
And what we're doing here is important because this is the shit this is where real America, I feel like, lies, is listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tuning into Tucker on his own platform, on X, showing people, doing the real news that we want to hear. Like, that's what gives me some hope, at least.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Before that dropped, I actually wrote Spotify and I told them that we'd do an exclusive for like $2,500. Yeah, I haven't heard back, but I feel like I
They could probably swing $2,500.
Well, I feel like I might have
do a
swung
lot
a
of
little
degrading
low.
stuff to get a portion of Joe Rogan's.
Yeah, I think I
$250 million.
swung a little low.
Yeah,
on
maybe
that.
just a
I
little.
should have probably stretched it a little bit. Anyway, maybe they won't reply.
But no, I think that Dad, your point, we had the call the other day and you were just like, this is where people are at. This is where people trust information.
Yeah.
And we might not say all the right things on Barn Talk, but we're just talking. This is just people talking.
Yeah, we're drinking from a fire hose as far as information that we can get and should get.
Yeah.
To remember all that and then regurgitate it is kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, anyway, you got anything else? Got anything you want to bring up?
My last thing, I love what they're doing in Europe, the farmers.
Yes.
I don't really like them dumping stuff all over the streets and burning piles of, because, I mean, then you just turn into the climate activist blocking highways and stuff.
Yep.
Turn into the person they don't want you to be, or that they're painting you to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, can we talk about January 6th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we've talked about it on here
that's
before.
exactly
no
what
one
January
believes that
6th
shit.
became is
Yep.
It was a trap.
Yep. It really was, because that has gotten just, it'll be interesting to see how history treats that.
Yeah.
Because
we flat out said it's bullshit on here.
Well, I know, but there is a strong group within this country that they're literally doing everything they can to have that be like
9/11.
And they're still throwing people in jail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The main guy of the Capitol Police that did all the testimony, he wasn't even there.
Yep.
On all that videotape, he wasn't even there. So that's perjury, Jack.
Yep.
And that would kill a lot of those people that you've already got. Not kill them, but kill their case against them.
Well, am I right?
In prison.
There's a guy that was just released that's done, I don't know, like 2.5, 3 years, whatever it is, and he's like in a halfway house, or he's going to be in a halfway house in Kansas City. But somebody made the comment that all these people that have been found that are in jail for this, not a single one of them were ever charged with insurrection.
Yeah.
They were all charged with all this other unlawful picketing. I mean, all this stuff.
Yeah, and then
not a single person has been
2 years at him, 10 years at him.
Yeah.
The one guy got 22 years and he wasn't even in.
Yeah,
wasn't
there.
DC. He supposedly said some stuff online.
Yeah. It's some crazy.
But I could see, like, that's what I worry about. What's going to happen with the European farmer strike is they can bring the military out and something oopsie can happen, and then the media just controls the narrative that it was
a trap.
I think those guys just feel like they're at the end of their rope, like they don't have any choice.
But that's the other part too, is how far can we really go before our land is gone?
Yep.
Our jobs are gone.
Yep. I agree, because anybody that says it can't happen here, I think they'd be wrong.
Media propaganda is it's a powerful thing. And yeah, you see I think 2020 taught us a lot about how powerful a narrative can actually fucking be.
Yeah.
And how it can really mess things up in a hurry.
Yep.
And I think more people are mindful of it. I hope. I hope
they are.
I hope so.
I know you'd have thought 22 would have turned out a lot better.
So
red wave would have been a lot more redder.
Credibility of the press, of the media, is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
It is the lowest point it's been as long as they've been doing a poll. Among Republicans, among people who said what their preference was, only 11% of people, and I'm really surprised. They must have really worked hard to find 11% of Republicans that trust the media, but 11%, and then out of Democrats is 33%. However, out of Democrats that are younger than age 33, it drops to like 16%. So younger people are much less.
I don't watch any of that shit.
What I don't understand is, so young people are typically countercultural.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of happening though.
I've seen some like Christian type revival stuff has been happening, so maybe that's where the hope will come from.
Well, I mean, you look at the baby boomers. That whole generation was counterculture to their parents.
Yeah, they need to go away.
Yeah, they need to go away.
At least from leadership.
But I mean, that was that was true among them. They were counterculture to their parents. And now you have this generation of, I don't know what you call it. I mean, people that are just, there are no absolutes. And so you have a generation of kids that are looking for structure and they're looking for order. And so maybe it does. Maybe we
I can't imagine being a young person right now and being happy with what's been going on.
Yeah.
You've been sold a bill of goods, go to college, get the degree. You're going to be able to buy all this shit. And you just look around the world, just how people are now. People are fucked up more than ever before. And it's like, I don't know. I've said it once. I keep seeing videos like homesteading and traditional values and morals are like becoming popular again. Well, it's because we're like fucking sprinting back to, okay, this is when shit was
this
like,
worked.
This was all right.
Yeah.
Like the country, there was some shit going on, but it was most of the time it was pretty level headed, right? Like we were in a good place. And so I just feel like you're seeing more of that. Like Kelowna is a great example for a town that's like, there's so many like millennials, Gen Zers there that are like into homesteading, got a garden, got chickens.
Yep.
They're fucking canning shit. They're going to church every Sunday. Like it's,
Well, and so I saw one of the propagandist thing. It was something I saw. I think it was on Instagram, but one of them was like, federal government says that growing your own food is less, or has more of a carbon impact on the planet than traditional farming. I don't know if it's traditional farming even, which is kind of true. Like,
if you buy into the whole narrative,
there is nothing more efficient than modern farming in America today.
True,
but you're growing your own food on your farm. I'm not gonna chastise you for that.
It's America. It's free. Grow your own food.
It's not going to be. You're not going to produce thousands of bushels for the effort you put into it, but
you're going to be self-reliant.
You're not tilling the soil. You're not burning big tractors. That stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, one thing is certainty. If David doesn't get home in time, for the bus to come, he won't be able to go to
his ass is grass.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So
he's got daddy responsibilities to attend to. So we got to wrap it up. Down. David, we appreciate you coming on. We got to do it again next year. Maybe we'll get you in 24 again. But it was a great year of farming. We had a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it again next year. Glad that you're done doing the manure thing. This year anyway.
Yeah.
But
me too.
We'll make it through. We'll batten down all the hatches and we'll have to stock up on duct tape. We'll get her done.
For the head.
Yep. Next time we'll have tinfoil hats on here. We'll put on.
We keep saying we're going to make them.
We got to take our farmer caps off, put our tinfoil hats on.
That would be fun.
We're going to do it.
Next year we'll do that.
We need a fun hat for that.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll actually get those made.
Colander.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's a good idea. I have to rummage around, see if I got them.
Well, anyway, guys, if you got any value from the show, if you're related to us on anything, if you learned anything, please share the show. Share it out with who you know. Pay the fee. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We'll see you guys back here next week for another episode.